and O Street.
11th and O.
Right. Uh-huh.
And there was another mom that would congregate with the ladies there. And so the Carriones lost their older brother also about that time. And it was, yes, there was a place where they could come and mourn and talk about their worries and talk about, well, my son is at this place and mine is at this other. And even if they were not educated, if they didn't know where certain places were in the map, but they could talk to other moms about where their kids were and feel, well, they're in the danger zones or they're not in the danger zones. And that was something else that was kind of new to us. We hadn't, when we came, we hadn't lost a lot of boys. They were in the service, but we hadn't lost a lot of them. And there was more being lost here than Nieves has lost one too, I believe. So it was, we came at a different time to Colton than the people that lived here that we met. You know, we were coming from another environment, completely different.
Well, tell me about the Depression years. You mentioned that because of the Depression and also the war, that there were not too many things available for people to buy. Yeah.
The Depression was different from this Depression. There was a lot of things available, but the people could only buy what they needed. And President Roosevelt started the WPA program about that time. So people still worked for what they got. You know, nothing was free. They still worked. There was a WPA, there was a CC program, which was young men going into the forest, planting trees and
providing fires,
conservation programs.
Yes.
And so it opened up a new world for our mining little town. And when we came here, we missed that, you know, because it was during the war by then. And even though people had more money, the things were scarce.
Like
they
what
were
things?
rationed.
What things were rationed, Connie?
Everything that I can remember that a home need. Coffee was rationed, sugar was rationed.
Gasoline?
Meat, gas, tires, shoes. People had to have a stamp to go buy a pair of shoes.
A stamp?
A stamp.
A coupon?
It was like the blue chip stamps, the green stamps. You got issued a stamp for each person. And so sometimes older men didn't use them, so we young people would kind of play up to them to get an extra stamp for an extra pair of shoes. And it was funny because we had to use, it was chicory coffee at the time, which didn't taste that good at all, but you could buy that without a stamp. And so people started using that instead of coffee.
What about sugar and flour?
What?
Sugar and flour.
The sugar was rationed, and I think it was because of where we got the sugar from. It wasn't for any other reason. The coffee, the sugar was because we couldn't get it easily, and the gas, of course. But I remember my dad having to put in for his car because you weren't allowed to just go buy a car. You had to wait your turn to get one of the cars that came in. And I guess because in Detroit they were manufacturing war things instead of cars. But it was an entirely different concept of a neighborhood grocery store. Because then you have to limit your bologna, which was something people bought in a little grocery store. The bread, the bologna, you know, the school
I was going to ask you, what kind of products did you sell besides bologna and bread?
We had all the canned goods. We had meat, vegetables, and everything. But the big thing was the things that you run out of in a hurry and you can't wait till you go to town to buy them. You know, we had the big stores, which we were not familiar with. In Jerome, we had the company store and then little neighborhood stores all over. But here, there were more stores available that we were not familiar with. So we had to battle against that.
What about milk and eggs?
I don't remember that they were rationed. I remember it was a big, something people depended on to get by, you know, eggs and milk.
And clothing and shoes and...
You know, there was Clothing, I didn't know too much about. My mom was a great seamstress, so we didn't bother too much with that. But I should, because of the shoes, that made a difference. You know, you couldn't buy all the shoes you wanted to match your outfit. But it was the jobs people were doing. They needed, grew up needing different kind of clothing, you know, than before, just to go pick fruit. And it was a whole new world for them.
Picking fruit. What about going to work in the office or at Norton or some of those places?
You know what? I hear now. I didn't experience that, but I hear from friends that I have now that counselors at school never advised Mexican girls to train for this or that. It was the biggest thing they could strive for was to be a secretary. You know, to work at an office. That was a big thing. You didn't, no one was advised to go on and be a teacher, be a doctor, be a nurse, nothing. You know, it was, the only thing they could hope for was to work in an office with someone. And so that was kind of limited to what they strived for. And,
or what they expected from you.
Well, probably so, you know, and I didn't go to high school here, so I don't know that much except what I hear from my friends now. But their big thing was learn shorthand, learn typing, because that's what you can strive for. You can work in an office, and that's as high as you're gonna, or a telephone operator.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was great.
Okay.
I went to look for a job. I wasn't tall enough. I couldn't reach the board, so I wasn't hired. But
what about the bank? Bank of America, I think, was big also. Working for the banks.
I don't know, Tommy. Like I tell you, I didn't. To me, a bank job would have been boring because I was tired of the store. So I never tried. But we didn't have all the banks we have now. You know, there was a Bank of America,
Right.
and I think Security Bank.
Right.
And those were the two banks. Now there's more banks available where people can go work, but I don't think, even though the boys were in the service, and you would have thought more girls would have had a chance for jobs, I really don't know that part of it, how easy it was. I know when I found out that Hilda Garcia worked in a bank in LA.
Well, your neighbor, because the Garcias were your neighbors.
They were the only ones that were neighbors at that time.
Right.
And I thought that was great. And then when I found out she was an airline stewardess, I couldn't believe it. A Mexican girl being an airline stewardess. And but like I say, I don't know what was out there. My parents thought it was more important to help them in the store. And there were no checks there. That's when my sister went to work for another grocery store. She wanted a check to go with her. But, you know, and my dad met Mr. Castorena, and his daughter was a beauty operator.
Which Castorena?
Porfirio.
Porfirio. Oh, it's the Lina. Lina Castorena.
Was a beauty operator.
Right.
And my dad thought that was pretty good. So he did encourage me to take that course. I took it, I enjoyed it, I made new friends out of Colton. And it was the work I didn't like too much. It was too much like grocery work. You were pleasing people. And I think I had always wanted to be a teacher. From the time I was small, we played school, and I was a teacher. I was never a student. I was a teacher. So to me, there was nothing else that really interested me that much, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what did you do for entertainment?
For what?
Entertainment. Dances or
dances.
Going to fiestas or parties?
Well, we went to fiestas when we came here, because like I tell you, we had the 16th of September celebration over there. So that was familiar to us. Dad would let us go to that one. And there were dances at the Masonic Hall on top of the Mission Drugstore upstairs.
Oh, tell me about that. I'm not familiar with that.
It was
downtown Colton?
It was as you go up under the bridge now.
Yes.
To get to the main street over in La Cadena, the
Yes.
business. There was a Mission Drugstore and a bakery, a Buttercup Bakery. And upstairs was a Masonic Hall that people rented for parties, dances to raise money, or dances for weddings and that. I don't remember much of any other at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was going to dances there, going to the 16th of September fiesta, the church, when we came. And of course, the sombrero was a big thing at the time.
Uh-huh.
And it was, they'd have dances and that. But gradually it got a little too rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a Masonic place
Mhm.
for dances. And by the time I met Nacho, men were coming back from the service, and they had dances at the Orange Show and at the auditorium in San Bernardino,
The auditorium was located downtown San Bernardino.
downtown San Bernardino, and
Okay.
the Urbita dance
Rivera
hall,
was,
where the Inland Center
the
is
Inland
now.
Center shopping center is now, okay.
It was there. And we had big name bands that came there at the time.
Mhm.
So that was a big thing,
Mhm.
to go to a dance there, because you danced to big band
Mm.
music. And so,
Was there the swing band like Tommy Dorsey and?
yes, we got to see Harry
Duke Ellington,
James,
Harry
and we got
James.
to see Xavier Cugat,
Uh-huh.
and all of those big names. Oh, we got to see Louis Armstrong,
Mm.
which was one of my favorites. And then there was the Orange Show, of course.
Oh, yes, that's
Everybody
right.
looked forward to the Orange Show in
Uh-huh.
spring.
Uh-huh.
It was, they had big name bands too, a lot of really good entertainment in it. And it was more of a participating thing. You had the hobby show, you had the,
I remember the displays,
The
the orange
display.
displays.
well, that was something that was different from any other place, you know, their display. At that time, they were made with oranges.
Mhm.
All the display were made with oranges.
Mhm.
And then they had the carnival part of it, which a lot of the kids looked forward to. And they had a free day where school kids could come free. And then the schools participated by taking their bands to play. And of course, that was something big. Parents came out to hear their kids play in the Orange Show. And so it was booming, like I say, at that time. There was something going on most of the time that you could attend that was healthy.
Mhm.
But it was different to us, but the people here were already into that.
Mhm.
It was,
Mhm.
it was their main, they looked forward to certain times of the year for different entertainment. And so it was, the families that we met, there was a lot of intermarriages there. I mean, when the boys came back from the service, it was, they met again, you know, almost like different people. Because
Mhm.
boys came back different, the girls had gotten more independent too. So we were here to see that, see the.
The change that happened
Yes.
after the war.
After the war, we
Uh-huh.
saw, we didn't see it before the war, so we
Uh-huh.
weren't too much on that, but we did see what happened after the war, you know. Kids that had just been neighbors before were now boy and girlfriend, you know, when they came back in their
Mhm.
uniforms.
Mhm.
And at dances, they were very important now, because there was the young men in their uniforms, very proud of. And they
So
were not.
the community was proud of our boys that served in the service.
Yes, the South Colton community was very proud of their young men then, and I didn't know why, but evidently there was a difference in the way they were treated.
Mhm.
Young men expected to be treated differently after being in the service,
Mhm.
or wearing a uniform, you know, they
Mhm.
felt, yeah, we're part of all of Colton,
Mhm.
not just South Colton.
Well, you know, some of the numbers that I've looked at of number of young men that served in World War II out of Colton, Mexicans,
Mhm.
was 395. 395 young men that came from South Colton and served in World War II. And then there were 5 females that served in the war effort also. So altogether from South Colton, we had about 400 people that served in the army.
Just from South Colton.
Just from South Colton.
See,
Yeah.
and that gave them a different feeling from, I guess, from the way they felt before.
Uh-huh.
They were part of all of Colton,
Mhm.
not just South Colton.
Mhm.
And to me, it was so nice that they started going to higher institutions, They started having the nerve. The government would give them money to continue an education according to whatever schooling they had.
Mhm.
Now, my brother-in-law, Tommy, qualified to get into accounting
Now,
because he
Tommy
had
was,
graduated.
Tommy was Nacho's, your husband's
Yes,
brother.
Yes.
And he lost a leg?
He lost a leg and had a lot of scars all over his body. And in a way, it made him want to show people that he could still do a lot of things. He didn't give up because of what happened. So with him, it worked really wonderful because he felt, okay, I gave service and they're going to get, it isn't free. I earned it. I earned the right to go to school and let them pay for it. So it was something that from talking to him, because I met him before I met my husband, Nacho.
Mhm.
And he would go to the store and talk to us about his experiences. And he says he started feeling, I can go back home and do things now. I don't have to hide in South Colton anymore. So he took accounting, and he was a state auditor for many years until he
Mhm,
retired.
mhm.
And it was great because he felt, I don't have to stay in South Colton now. I can go live anywhere I want to, and I can do anything I want to. He got married, raised a family, a wonderful family.
Mhm.
And then my husband could not hope for a better thing than being a barber because he did not graduate. Being one of the older ones in the family, he had to quit school to work.
Oh, when did he, what year, what grade level was he when he
He
quit
said
school?
he had stopped at 7th because Tommy had skipped a grade and was gonna be in his class.
Mhm.
And of course, his mom was thrilled to death that he was not gonna waste time going to school anymore. Because to her, being in sports and going to school was waste.
Mhm.
So she had been a widow trying to raise her kids by herself. And so she was welcomed, he was welcome at home because now he could go to work and help her.
Mhm.
And so when he went to apply, he used to give him a $50 a month stipend to live on while they were going to school. And when he went to apply, he had to struggle. He had to get 2 teachers that he remembered having write letters that he could handle
Mhm.
some kind of an education. Maybe not a profession, but some technical thing that he could learn. So he picked barbering.
Mhm.
And he said he didn't even know why.
Mm.
But that was one of the things he could pick, so he
Mhm.
picked it. And that opened up a new world for him.
Mhm.
Because now he wasn't with just older men working. He had worked in the orange groves and he had worked at the cement plant with older men.
Mhm.
I mean, his ideas were kind of old man ideas.
Mhm.
But this opened up another world to him.
Mhm.
I don't have to go work at the
Mhm.
cement plant. And so, well, he was going to barber school, I was going to beauty school. And we met in a wedding, like a lot of people.
Well,
We-
tell me about that meeting.
Well,
Tell
it
me
was-
about that meeting that you, I was gonna ask you, how did you meet your husband Nacho?
Well, we met him at the store because he had to go by our store to get home on his leave.
Uh-huh.
So he met my mom. He didn't meet me till way later. And he met my mom and they got to be friends. But then when he was engaged to someone,